I'm sharing with you a Claude Code technique that you can use to build any website, as you can see those three examples on the screen. A Mediterranean luxury yacht charter brand, a sleek fine dining spot in Paris. The third example is an iPhone product page. Each site looks like a professional design team spent weeks perfecting it. I spent hours analyzing big brands' website like Apple, Nike, Tesla, Adidas, and all of them uses this same formula. Now I'm going to show you exact step-by-step process from that very first prompt right through to the live deployment. So you'll be able to do it yourself, then be able to sell it. Okay, first up, getting Claude Code installed. There are several ways to do this, but I'm using Homebrew because it's my go-to method on Mac or Linux. Use Wingit if you're on Linux. Just copy that command and paste it straight into your terminal. It might take a minute or two depending on how fast your internet is, so just let the process run until everything finishes up. In my case, it is already installed. I fired up Claude Code and try installing the Superpowers plugin. This is a well-known plugin that bundles software development best practice. You need Claude Code to actually read websites instead of just guessing what's on the page. So I went looking for Firecrawl. It's a scraping tool built specifically to feed AI clean, readable content rather than some messy pile of raw HTML. First thing, head over to the official GitHub plugin instructions and simply install the Firecrawl CLI using the npm command. Next up is authentication. It kicks open a browser window where you just sign in and fill out a few quick forms. Once that's done, you are good to go. Now we have Firecrawl fully integrated into Claude Code, ready for action. The way to see how this completely changes the workflow when you start feeding it complex web data. Here's a problem with AI-built websites. They tend to look the same, that generic, slightly soulless AI look. So I go find a fix, a skill called UI UX Pro Max. It is packed with over 100 design rules, dozens of UI styles, and specs for more tech stacks than I'll ever use. It basically gives Claude Code real design taste instead of just default choices. I try installing it through the GitHub guide. Always pick the CLI install, copy and paste the npm install command. Then you need to init your project using UI Pro init pointed at Claude. I hit an exist error. This error pop up when the skill is already installed on the machine. While I'm at it, I add a second design skill called impeccable, also open source and free. This one's laser focused on the stuff that makes a design feel professional. Contrast ratios, spacing, typography, all the small rules that separate a real designer's work from a generic AI guess. Installing it is just copy-pasting npx impeccable install in your terminal. In my case, I will pick the update command because I installed impeccable a few days ago. Now, I've got two design skills running side by side. Both skills checks every future AI website build design rules automatically. I'm starting a new project in VS Codium and dropping this file into it. This is my master prompt template for building any website. You'll see placeholders here. Those are designed to make Claude ask me clarifying questions instead of just guessing what I need. And we also have to create a material folder where I put images giving the AI visual inspiration so it knows exactly what kind of site we're making. Before I ask the AI to design anything, I go do what any real designer would do first. I look at what already exists. I open Pinterest and search yacht, and I'm scrolling through aerial shots of boats cutting through blue water. All that glossy lifestyle photography brands use to sell the dream of being on the water. Then I narrow it down further to yacht web design specifically, because I don't just want pretty boats, I want to see how other companies have actually built pages around them. I start opening full pins, the actual landing pages other luxury charter brands are using right now, and saving the ones that catch my eye. This is mood boarding, plain and simple. I'm not writing a single line of code or a single word of copy yet. I'm building a mental picture of what luxury feels like in this specific space. The color palettes, the photography style, the way these sites lay out a hero image versus a fleet listing. Skipping this step is exactly how you end up with a generic looking site. Doing it first means by the time I sit down with the AI, I already know what I'm asking for. Now I tell Claude Code exactly what I want, a website, but instead of just barreling ahead with random code, it immediately starts interviewing me. It asks about my business model, the tone I'm going for, how dramatic that hero section needs to feel. This back and forth is crucial. Spending a few seconds answering these questions saves me hours of painful rework down the line. Once it locks in that I'm building a luxury yacht charter brand, it doesn't just start guessing what luxury looks like. It uses its skills to research real competitors. Specifically, it employs Firecrawl to scrape actual content from Burgess Yachts, one of the biggest names in this industry, instead of inventing fake data. And it cross-references that with a design system database provided by UX UI Pro Max Skill. For the tech stack itself, the pipeline analyzes the project complexity and lands squarely on Astro, which is built for exactly these kinds of fast, content-heavy websites. All of this research gets pulled together into a proper design spec, a full product requirement document that lays out tone, structure, technical choices, QA, and deployment before a single line of code even exists. What I love watching is how it turns a vague request like build me a website into something completely scoped and deliberate. The final output isn't just a bunch of files, it's a detailed project spec that you can hand off to any AI coding agent, and it will build the site exactly as planned. With the design spec locked, the agent turns that into an actual build plan, hosted right there for me to scroll through. It lays out the architecture, locks in the exact colors and spacing values it'll use everywhere, maps out the file structure, and breaks the whole build into a checklist of tasks, one by one. At the very end, it reviews its own plan against the spec to make sure nothing got missed. This is the part people skip when they're moving fast with AI, and it's exactly why so many AI-built sites feel inconsistent. No plan, no checklist, just vibes. Here's the actual document. I called this project Hellman Horizon, and this is its full design spec sitting right here in the editor. Brand colors, typography choices, the map of every page on the site, the tech stack, Astro for the framework, Tailwind for styling, Docker for how it all gets packaged up and shipped. There are rules for how it behaves on a phone versus a laptop, and a whole QA checklist at the bottom for catching problems before they ship. This is the moment a bunch of scattered ideas from a brainstorm become one single source of truth. No more improvising later, no more changing my mind halfway through. Every decision from here forward gets checked against this one document. And don't worry about the jargon. Astro is just the framework the site's built on, and the Docker multi-stage build is basically a smarter way of packaging the app so it deploys faster and smaller. Scrolling through this next document is easily one of my favorite parts. It's a full asset list, every single image and video the site needs, the hero video, fleet photography, shots of the destinations these yachts sail to, all mapped out one by one. What makes this useful is that each entry isn't just a description, it's an actual prompt, written and ready to paste straight into an image or video generator. Next to each one is the exact file name and the exact folder it belongs in, so nothing gets lost or misplaced once someone else picks this up to actually generate the assets. A design only means something once it's been turned into instructions someone or something can follow without guessing. It's the difference between describing a look and actually being able to produce it. This document is that translation from vision to something you can literally copy, paste, and run. Now it's time to actually make all these images and videos, and this is where it gets fun. I take that whole prompt document, dozens of detailed prompts for this yacht brand, and feed it straight into Google Flow's agent chat. Instead of pasting one prompt at a time and waiting around, I handed the entire list at once and let it work through the batch, approving the whole run in one shot. Now it's not perfectly smooth. I hit rate limits along the way. Some renders take a while to come back, and a couple of shots need a retry before they land right. But that's normal, and it's worth pushing through, because on the other side of that is a full visual library for this brand. The yacht exteriors, the crew, the coastal scenery, all rendered and ready. Once everything is generated, I grab the whole thing as a single zip file, and just like that, I've got every image and video this site needs sitting in one folder, ready to drop straight into the build. With the assets rendered, I put everything into one folder in Finder, all the images and that hero video together in one place, Then I drop the folder into VS Code, right next to the spec, listing all 52 assets and the brand's style guidelines. Now the output from a generator is organized, labeled, and ready for a developer to build with. I launch Claude Code and just ask him to understand the project and start building. It's reading back through that design spec and the asset prompts we made earlier, then working straight on a 17-task build list, scaffolding the site in Astro and Tailwind, wrapping the whole thing in Docker so it can ship anywhere, wiring in the real yacht photos in that hero video instead of placeholders. And it's not just blindly executing, it actually catches its own mistakes along the way. At one point it runs into a Tailwind version 4 config mismatch. Basically the styling settings written the old way when the new version expects something different, and it catches and fixes that itself. Later it finds a bug in the test runner that was quietly returning success even when tests failed. The kind of thing that would have slipped a broken build straight into Docker without anyone noticing. On the left sidebar, projects file start popping without the need of my intervention. So I let him cook and go grab a coffee. Voila, this is the final results. Here's Helm and Horizon, live and running. Let's scrolling through the homepage. Past the hero, into the fleet lineup, then a section on curated experiences, and down into the destinations these yachts actually sail to. Everything scrolls smooth, nothing janky, exactly what you'd expect from a real charter brand site. I click into one specific yacht, this one's called Serenity, and land on its full detailed page, specs, description, and a photo gallery that opens up into a lightbox so you can click through every shot at full size. Back on the fleet page, I try filtering by yacht type, and it narrows the list instantly. No page reload, no waiting around. And this is the part that actually matters for a business like this. That's the whole booking funnel working end to end. Browse the feed, filter down to what you want, check out the details, then actually inquire. That's the kind of detail that makes a demo actually convincing. A full path from browsing to booking, built entirely by an AI agent working off the plan and assets we set up earlier. This is a real working flow, the kind you'd hand off to an actual client and trust it to hold up. I head to the inquiry form to book a look at one of these yachts, and I submitted without filling in the required fields, just to see what happens. It throws real validation errors, telling me exactly what's missing before it'll let the request through. Now let's look at something completely different. A restaurant this time, called Eclat, and I'm clicking through the whole site live. The homepage sets the mood immediately. Moody lighting, elegant type, the kind of first impression that makes you want to book a table before you've even seen the menu. From there, I move into the actual menu page. The menu itself is laid out like something you'd actually want to read before a big night out. Let's check the chef bio page. Look at the level of the detail. The name of the restaurant, Eclat, is well written on the silver box and on the chef clothes. Also, I generated the building front of the restaurant, and I will show you later this is exactly match luxury building facade in Paris. Then the gallery, full of moody food photography, and the gallery scrolls through plated dishes shot in that dim, moody restaurant photography style you see everywhere in fine dining marketing. And finally, the contact page with an address listed right on it. Here's where it gets interesting. I take that address and drop it straight into Google Maps Street View to see what's actually there in real life. And the address checks out. It's a real spot in Paris, a real street, the kind of location a genuine high-end restaurant would actually sit on. That's not a small thing. Anyone can generate a pretty page with some stock photography slapped on it. What's actually hard is making every piece agree with every other piece. A real address in a real city, a chef bio with a coherent story, branding that stays consistent from the homepage all the way down to the contact form. This is a fictional restaurant that doesn't exist, and yet everything about it holds together like it does. If you show this to someone cold, without telling them it was AI generated, I don't think most people would question it for a second. That's the bar I'm trying to hit with every one of these builds. Not just a nice looking page, but a business that feels believable enough to walk into. Okay, let's check out this Apple style product page. I used the iPhone Air as my example. I'm walking through it top to bottom, just like you would on a real site. We start with the hero shot. hit the feature highlights, and scroll down into the chip specs. Claude made one tiny mistake here. It listed an A18 instead of an A19 CPU. But seriously, everything else looks like Apple built it themselves. This entire website proves how high-quality marketing pages can be generated without hand-coding every single element. I'm building this for people running online businesses who need a polished site that actually converts. Please remember, Apple trademark is used for learning purposes here. Now here's the real test. I'm putting a cat side by side with an actual restaurant that's Bleu, the historic dining room inside Paris's Gare de Lyon station. I scroll both at the same time, section by section, homepage first, and the layout instincts are strikingly similar. A big hero image up top, then straight into the story. Next, the Chef Biol and history section on both sides. The Train Bleu leans into more than a century of real history, while Eclat's fictional chef has his own invented but just as detailed backstory. And structurally, the two pages are doing the exact same job. Then the menu. The real site actually opens a PDF you can flip through page by page, and Eclat matches that same pattern. Its own menu opening in a viewer rather than just sitting as a flat image. Last, the photo galleries, and both let you click into a shot and browse through a lightbox, image after image at full size. What gets me is that this comparison isn't closed in a hand-wavy way. Feature for feature, layout choice for layout choice, an AI-generated concept is matching what a real, world-famous, over a century-old restaurant actually built. So I've got two yacht rental sites pulled up side by side right now, and I want you to see exactly why this comparison matters. On the left is Helm and Horizon, the site I built with Claude Code. On the right is a real, live yacht booking site out of Dubai. Same product. Both are renting you a yacht for the day, but look at how differently they're selling it. My site opens with this huge cinematic video of a yacht cutting through open water. Just a name and a single line underneath it. No clutter. It reads like a magazine spread, not a sales pitch. Scroll down and you get the story, the craftsmanship, the crew, the feeling of stepping onto that deck. I'm selling an experience. Now flip to the other side. Before the page even finishes loading, a WhatsApp chat bubble pops up in the corner. Then a review notification slides in from the bottom saying someone just booked a sunset cruise. Star ratings are crammed everywhere, and there are 3 Book Now buttons stacked on top of each other before you've even read a sentence about the boat. Every pixel is screaming, buy now, and none of it tells you why this yacht is worth your money. Both sites want you to book a yacht. Mine builds desire first and lets the booking follow naturally. The other one skips straight to urgency, hoping speed makes up for having nothing behind it. When your product is genuinely premium, giving the brand room to breathe sells harder than any pop-up ever could. That's what I built with Claude Code, and that's what I'm sharing with you. I'm sure most of you knows Apple website and design style. On the left, my own iPhone Air landing page with Claude Code, and I'm putting it right next to Apple's actual site to see how close it gets. Scrolling in sync, section by section, to shows you is the website we built is just an AI slop or not. Simply that's what I'm borrowing here. I'm copying Apple's exact playbook, how they frame product characteristics, and rebuilding that structure so you can drop your any product straight into it and use the same design. Now if you run an online shop and want that same premium, high-end feel on your product page, this is your blueprint. You simply have to provide Claude Code your product picture and ask him to adapt the hero video and the website images. This is a serious part. Let's talk money and find out the selling price of each website. Let's start by the restaurant website. I asked Claude Code to go through and tell me what it's actually worth. Instead of just spitting out a number, it goes and inspects the whole code base, how it's structured, what documentation exists, which assets are real versus placeholder, which features are fully wired up versus just stubbed in for show. It's reasoning through this almost like an appraiser walking through a house, checking what's finished and what's still drywall. And it doesn't land on one number. It gives me a range depending on how I'd actually sell this thing. So as a template, someone customizes themselves, maybe $40 to $120, as a full client deliverable. 3 to 7,000. As just the raw code handed off with no service around it, 800 to 1,500. Now time to put the yacht charter site under the price test, and I want a real number. What could I actually sell it for? So I asked Claude Code to review the website, and it gives me three numbers. I don't know why Claude returned the price in euro instead of dollars. Maybe because the website is targeting Mediterranean charter. So, if selling this build as a template on Astro Marketplace or Theme Forest, Claude Code estimate the price between $45 to $99 per license, which is really not bad. Second, when you sell this as a turnkey niche site, this will get you between 3,000 to 8,000 euros. We are starting getting really good number here. The third option is the best. You will get between 10,000 and 15,000 euro if you will deliver this website as a freelancer or a website development agency to charter businesses company. In this case, you will work with the client. He will deliver you the video and pictures. You will put everything in place, and the most important task is to connect the website with the client first. So I ask it to price out this iPhone Air page, and the answer stings a bit. As raw code, it's solid, 3 to 5.5 grand if you paid a freelancer to build it. Sell it as is though, and it's worth zero, because every image and word belongs to Apple. So you need to swap in your own product and photos, and you can keep that scroll-driven zoom and rotation. And now you will have a template that makes anything look like a flagship launch. That's the real use for this page, a design system you can drop any product into. Time to actually put this thing on the internet. I asked Claude Code to get the project ready for Wasmer.io, a free hosting platform. It figures out that a static export is the right code here, since this site doesn't need a server, just pages and assets. So it sets that up, runs the build, and drops a fresh out folder into the project with a Wasmer-ready version of the site inside. Then it checks the output to make sure everything's there and working before handing things back to me. I grab that exported folder and drag it straight onto Wasmer.io. A progress bar creeps across the screen, and in under 10 seconds, I've got a live URL, a real website sitting on the internet, reachable by anyone, with HTTPS and a valid SSL certificate already attached. No servers to rent, no DevOps person to call, just a folder and a browser tab doing the whole job. Now, the way I deployed it just skips authentication, so this particular link expires in an hour. That's perfect for something like sending a client a quick preview. But if you want a permanent live site, you just make a free Wasmer account first, and the URL sticks around for good. So there it is. You learn how to create valuable website, running clean and secure. I'm counting on your support, so please like this video and subscribe for more. See you in the next episode.